the channel Nature and Science.
Hello students, my name is DJ Midhi. I am a science mentor. In this video, we are going to discuss about centripetal force. We know there are three types of inertia: inertia of rest, inertia of motion, and inertia of directions. Now, keep inertia of rest and inertia of motion aside. Now, let us consider inertia of direction. Now, according to Newton's first law, an external unbalanced force is required to sense the inertia. So, the external unbalanced force that is required to sense the inertia of direction is called the centripetal force. That is the simple definition of centripetal force. It means where there is a change in direction of motion, there is always the presence of centripetal force. Now in this video, we are going to discuss the centripetal force mathematically. For this, a student should have the basic concept of vector algebra and differentiation. So let's begin. Here A vector is represented by this orange color arrow, and A vector can be expressed as the product of its magnitude and directions. Here this letter A represents magnitude and is the length of the orange colored arrow, which is denoted by the blue color dotted line. Again, A cap is a unit vector which denotes the directions of this A vector, that means the arrow. Now come to this diagram. Here this is another vector B which is represented by another orange colored arrow. Here also V vector is expressed as the product of its magnitude B and the unit vector B cap. Now come to this diagram. Now here PQ is a vector which has same length as that of A vector and has same direction as that of A vector. Therefore, PQ vector is denoted by A vector. Similarly, PR vector is denoted by B vector. Now, this RQ vector is denoted by A vector minus B vector. How? Let's say, in this triangle PQR, PR vector and RQ vector, both vectors are in same mode. Why? The head of this PR vector is connected to the tail of the RQ vector, but PQ vector is in opposite mode. Therefore, according to triangular law of vector addition, what we can write? PR vector plus RQ vector is equal to PQ vector. Therefore, RQ vector is equal to PQ vector minus PR vector. Ultimately, we get RQ vector is equal to A vector minus V vector. These operations of the vector is important because we are going to use these operations in understanding the centripetal force. We know accelerations can be expressed as the first order differentiation of velocity vector, and the velocity vector can be expressed as the product of its magnitude and directions. Here this letter V denotes the magnitude of this velocity vector, while V cap denotes the directions of this velocity vector. So acceleration now can be expressed as this form. Now this form of differentiation can be expanded by using the standard differentiation formula. If P and Q are two variables which are dependent on time, then the product of the differentiation of these two variables can be expressed in this form. Now if we replace P by V and Q by V cap, then we get accelerations in this form. Now this form of acceleration will be used as the master formula to understand the centripetal and centrifugal force. Now in this master formula, we may take different cases. The first case is when V is the function of t while V cap is not. It means when magnitude of the velocity changes with time but the directions of the velocity does not change with time. So in this case, this dv cap by dt becomes 0, hence accelerations appears in this form. Acceleration is equal to v cap dv by dt is equal to a vector suffix l is the linear accelerations. Now, this is the perfect examples of non-uniform accelerated motion in a straight line. Now let us come to the case number 2. In case number 2, we consider that the magnitude of velocity v does not change with time, but the directions of velocity, that is v cap, changes with time. If it happens, then these whole terms v cap dv by dt become 0, and then the accelerations will take this form. And these accelerations in which the directions of velocity changes with time is called the centripetal accelerations. That is the simple definition of centripetal accelerations. Now, to find out the directions of the centripetal accelerations, let us take the help of a diagram. Now, in this diagram, AV is a curved part in which an object is moving with uniform speed. Here, v1 cap is the directions of velocity at positions A, and v2 cap is the directions of velocity at positions B. Now we can consider a circle with AB as one of its arc. In this case, O is the center of that circle and R is the radius of that circle. We have already discussed earlier the formation of vector triangle and how a side can be expressed as the difference of two vectors of other two sides. Now in this vector triangle PQR, QR is denoted by the dv cap, and which is equal to v2 cap minus v1 cap. Now here dv cap is directed towards the center of that curve AB. In this expression of the centripetal accelerations, the direction of centripetal acceleration is same as that of dv cap, hence the centripetal acceleration is also directed towards the center of the curve part. Now when we take the differentiation of a function with respect to time, then we have to consider the time interval, that means the time taken by the object from A to B is infinitesimally small. Now only in that case this differentiation is valid. Now let us come to the topic of centripetal force. We know when we multiply acceleration with mass we get force, but when we multiply mass with centripetal accelerations we get centripetal force. So the directions of centripetal force is same as that of centripetal accelerations. That means centripetal acceleration is a force which is directed towards the center of the curve part. Now let us find the magnitude of this centripetal force Fc. Here the line AB represents the displacement of the particle moving from A to B through this curve part AB, which is denoted by del S, that is linear displacement. Now if we consider the time taken by the object from A to B as infinitesimally small, which is denoted by the symbol del t tends to 0, then we can write the displacement del S as ds. Now let us come to this triangle PQR. In this triangle PQR, the magnitude of RP is equal to magnitude of QP, which is equal to 1 because both sides represents the unit vectors v1 cap and v2 cap respectively, because we know the magnitude of unit vector is 1. Now this side QR is equal to modulus of dv cap. In this triangle OAB, OA is equal to OB is equal to radius of the circle made by the curve AB. Now this triangle PQR and the triangle AOB are similar. Therefore we can write QR by AB is equal to RP by OB. Now replacing the value of QR, AB, RP, OB from this, we get modulus of dv cap by ds is equal to 1 by r. Now ds is brought to the right hand side and then both sides are divided by the term del t. Then we get these expressions and in that expression ds by dt is the velocity v. Now the magnitude of centripetal acceleration is equal to b modulus dv cap by dt, and when we replace modulus dv cap by dt by v into 1 by r, we get the magnitude of centripetal acceleration as v squared by r, and accordingly we get the magnitude of centripetal force as mv squared by r. Now let us discuss the case number 3, in which both directions and magnitude of the velocity changes with time. That means v cap and v both are the function of time. Then this acceleration will be the combination of two acceleration. One is the centripetal acceleration, another is the linear acceleration. Centripetal acceleration is equal to v dv cap by dt, and linear acceleration is equal to v cap dv by dt. Now to find the directions of a vector, let us take the help of a diagram. Here C is any arbitrary position of the object moving through the curved path AB, and the linear acceleration is denoted by a tangent vector drawn at the point C, and this vector for the centripetal acceleration is denoted by this blue vector, which is directed towards the center of the curved path AB. Here green vector represents linear accelerations and this blue vector represents centripetal accelerations, and both these two vectors are two adjacent sides of a parallelogram. Now according to parallelogram law of vector addition, the diagonal drawn at the point C gives the resultant of these two vectors. Therefore this A vector is denoted by this red vector, which is the diagonal of this parallelogram drawn at the point C. So students, I hope you have enjoyed this video, and if you have any queries or questions, then put it in the comment sections and I shall try to answer it as soon as possible. And we will hopefully meet again in my next video. Until then, goodbye and take care.